What up, party people? Welcome back to another episode of Controversial Album Covers. This is episode number 43, and today we are going to talk about the band Kiss, or more specifically, the Kiss logo. Now, you may be asking yourself, why is he talking about a band's logo when this is Controversial Album Covers? Well, that's because this episode covers their entire catalog. They were started in Queens, New York in 1973, and I don't need to give you much detail about them. You already know what's going on. The problem was, in about 1978, 79, and even into 80, Germany decided that Kiss's logo was not good for them, and they started banning them and tossing out all of their albums. Now, why, you might ask? Because if you look at the US logo or the world logo for Kiss, it has two quote-unquote lightning bolts for S's. However, Germany felt that those S's were very reminiscent of the Schutzstaffel logo for the Nazis, the SS, and they were not having any part of it because obviously they didn't want to be associated, and they didn't want anything associated with the SS or the Nazis, so they started kicking it out. Now, the problem is on first glance, you'd be like, why is this an issue? Everybody knows that Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley are Jewish. In fact, Gene's mother was actually a Holocaust survivor, so why would they possibly have a SS logo in their name? Well, the problem is the actual logo was designed by Ace Frehley, and Ace Frehley had some anti-Semitic tendencies early on, according to Gene and Stanley. In fact, they said in the 2002 Kiss and Makeup autobiography, Simmons wrote, Ace had a fascination with Nazi memorabilia, and in drunken stupors, he and his best friend would videotape themselves dressed up as Nazis. And they also said that he had a bunch of Nazi memorabilia. Now, Ace didn't really talk about this for a very, very long time. But finally, in 2011, he said in an interview, he's like, I'll go on record as saying it wasn't modeled after Hitler's or Nazis, the SS. He said, I want to go on record as saying I don't believe in Hitler or his ideology or anything he stood for. But later on in the interview, he said, regardless of whether or not you agree with Hitler's ideology, there was still something fascinating about his costumes. I always thought that they had the coolest costumes, and it was very fashionable. And he also said that they were, he always said that they were supposed to be lightning bolts, but they weren't really, he wasn't really a good artist, so they didn't really look right, but that's his argument. So if you go through the catalog, you'll see this record, and almost every one of their albums has been reissued in Germany with the different S. Sometimes it's just a stylized S, sometimes it's the backward S, sometimes it's something else, but usually it's the backward S. It's like Z's. So if you find a record that looks kind of silly to you, it's probably a German copy. There were a couple other countries that followed suit, but mostly it was just for Germany. But as always, thanks for watching. Catch you next time.